Here's the tricky thing about not handling something that should be handled is that customers are going to see it way more often than you. I'm talking about cleaning. More specifically, what I heard last week in David Scott Peters' event, something in the restaurant biz called cleaning parties. And ironically, I got a text last week about a podcast I did before about a restaurant in Northern Kentucky that's got a giant flower pot / ashtray right in front of its door. Are you paying attention to what is obvious every day to people who don't see it every day, aka your paying customers?
My goal is to help restaurant owners finally get to where they want to go. But more than that, my goal is to find entrepreneurs within that segment that actually know what it means to hustle. That's my goal. Come on the journey with me.
Restaurant Marketing Secrets, episode 282. I'm your host, Matt Plapp, and we're brought to you by America's Best Restaurants. America's Best Restaurants is on a path to help you, independent restaurant owners, find more frequent customers, because infrequent customers don't pay the damn bills. And today we're talking about something that maybe your frequent customers don't see because they've seen it so often, but I can promise you, brand new customers are going to notice it right away. Last week in Las Vegas at David Scott Peters' Restaurant Transformation Seminar, he brought up a topic that is foreign to me: cleaning parties. And a lot of people in the room, I looked around. When he says these things at these seminars, I look around and say, okay, what, people understand this? And obviously the guy's an expert. The guy's the expert in the business. I know they do, but I'm just always curious to gauge the room. And I look around as he said this, and people are, you can see grimacing, like, oh shit, we do those. And I was kind of curious on it. I've heard it before with him, but I wanted to have some conversations with restaurants there to find out about these, because I've got a few pieces of experience in my past that come to these that I can kind of understand. But then also there's some things I can't understand. And then I'm also going to talk about something else that was brought up in the conversation about things that you as an owner are going to see every day. And that if you don't have checks and balances in place, some crazy ass things you walk by might go unnoticed. So number one, I can relate very little with the cleaning party. I guess I'll say I can relate a little bit. When we had our boat dealership, we had a mezzanine, and it was the catch-all. And I'll never forget 2 or 3 times where we literally took an entire weekend, me and a couple people, and we would gut the mezzanine and we would straighten it up. It's kind of like what we do with our basement storage every year or two. Now, the reason I can relate with that was that this was a storage area at our boat dealership. It was about a 1,500 square foot area that when boat parts got taken off of a boat and there was extra things, nobody knew where to put it because we had parts areas. You had things cataloged, this area, throw it there. We'll get to it. And so it made sense that, every 6 months or a year that we would have a little party and buy some beer and pizza, and a handful of us would hang out up there and take it out and throw a lot of stuff away. And at the same time, take a lot of stuff and go, man, we could sell this on eBay. I struggle with this at a restaurant because of the safety concerns that exist in many places. Most restaurants that I've went into have a small manager's office. They have their dry storage. They have their walk-in. There's really not many restaurants I go to that have a mezzanine like we had to just throw stuff there. And on the other side of that, there's a lot of concerns with regards to maybe overlooking things. That was the big topic of the cleaning party. And I remember I was at a restaurant. This would have been November of 2021. And I was behind the counter. And I know the owner. And I will say this, he's a good operator, but not a DSP level implementer, meaning there wasn't deep enough checks and balances. There weren't things in this restaurant that were looked at every day like they should have. And I remember turning around and I was looking at something. He had just gotten this new oven, and was looking at it, and he was showing me, telling me about it. And I happened to look above it and look at the trim on the wall. And I'm like, when was the last time you cleaned that, bro? And he looks, he's like, oh yeah, we do that every couple months. What do you mean every couple months? Like, that looks like shit. That looks terrible. And I'm like picturing like something falling down into the food. And I ate at this place. Place was great. But it caught me by surprise because I remember him saying like, oh yeah, we get together for a couple months and we do this and we do that. And then we have this company come in that does this deep cleaning. And part of the message last week with David Scott Peters was that shouldn't happen. There should be a daily checklist that makes sure that trim, that the top of that bathroom partition, that the top of the paper towel holder, that the bar tops, the tables, the floor, the windows, there should be a checklist that every day as that restaurant is closed, it is handled, and as it's opened, it's handled. But it has to be very specific, and that there is zero reason to have cleaning parties, because cleaning parties are typically a sign, a message that you're cool with ignoring stuff over an extended period of time to play catch up. And what scares me about that is, what are your customers seeing? And I can relate to that because I've seen businesses where I walk in and I'm like, does somebody not see the 40 pieces of tape on the front door? Does somebody not see the, overflowing garbage can out front? I was at a coffee shop the other day. I was there at 6:30 a.m. They open at 6:30 a.m. The garbage can they have in front of the coffee shop, which is theirs, was overflowing. People see that. And one of the reasons that you might not be able to cultivate enough frequent customers is due to the fact that you screw up on the first impression.
We interrupt this programming for a brief announcement from our sponsor.
Hey, it's Matt. Okay, there's no sponsor here. Just us. We don't have advertising in our podcast. It's just us dropping value to help you build the ultimate marketing plan for your restaurant. But I want you to take advantage of something. We have our America's Best Restaurants University. Yes, it's not actually a university. It's an online training. But it is a great place for you to learn how to market your restaurant at a high level and join our community online and in our Facebook group. Go to abru.online/free. abru.online/free. Join the ABR University and let us help you get to the next level. Now back to the show.
Ironically, that screwing up the first impression is something that was brought up last week as well. And it was talking about the fact that you've got three types of customers coming to your business. And we talk about this all the time. You have brand new, you have former customers, aka lost, and you have your frequent customers. The frequent customers be more forgiving based on past experience. They also might be blind to what everybody else is because they're the same as you. If somebody's at a restaurant 3 days a week and you're there 5 days a week, both of you might have already accepted that something is there that's not supposed to be there, and it's just you walk right by it. It's kind of like a friend of mine's restaurant, Quaker Steak and Lube, back in the day, and they still might do it. I don't remember as much. I was in there the other day, but I didn't look around a whole lot. But back in the day, the corporate office had these stickers they put up on the windows. These giant, like half the window was covered. They were cool looking. But they were the same ones for like a year. And I said, Jim, it's background noise. It's said the same exact thing for 12 months. I would be rotating those every 2 to 3 months, maybe more frequent. And I would, if it's too expensive to do that, I would be finding a way to maybe make it less expensive so you can keep people's eyeballs moving. Otherwise, if it says all you can eat wings this day, which is what they had at one of them a long time ago, if it says all you can eat wings there on Wednesdays, and it said that for a year, I can promise you your frequent customers, it's background. They don't see it anymore. It's just like the wall, the paint on the wall. Well, last week, I got a text message from a friend of mine who lives in my area, who goes to school with my kids, or I guess my son. His son does. And he sent me a text message with a picture from in front of a local restaurant that I have covered in a prior podcast. And I will make the post on Facebook today. I will find this picture and I will repost it. And his message was, I guess they don't listen to your podcast. Now, here's the comical part. This guy's not a restaurant owner. I didn't know he listened to my podcast. He's a business person. I made a podcast about this specific thing 6 months ago. And it's talking about when you walk into the front door of this restaurant, which, by the way, this restaurant, on a scale of 1 to 10, for their product is a flipping 10. But you walk up to the front door, and there's what I'll call an abandoned flower pot that has what maybe at some point used to be plants in it, like little pieces of brush everywhere, with a cigarette ashtray. I think it might be a dog bowl or something too. I can't remember. I'll have to look at the picture. Sitting in it with garbage and cigarettes. So if you're a brand new customer and you go to walk up to this and you see that, I can promise you people walk away. And that was this guy's text. He said, I guess they don't listen to your podcast, and a picture of it. Now ask yourself this. If I bring up a story like this and somebody in my community hears it and sees that months later, this was last week, he took the picture and sent it to me. And ironically, I was at this restaurant in the same timeline and saw it again because it's always there. If this is a consumer that knows me, that listens to my podcast, that I didn't call out what the restaurant was because I wouldn't do that, but saw what I explained, described, I guess you could say, and sent me a text message months later when he walked by that exact thing. You think people notice it? So the question I have is outside of the cleaning parties, because marketing, and I'll just cover this real quick. Marketing is a great tool to drive business people to your business. But the easiest way to lose that momentum is to suck at one of the items that's going to keep them there. If your food is bad, it doesn't matter. You can market all you want. You can have the greatest marketing campaign ever. If people walk in your place and have terrible food, they are not coming back. If they walk in your restaurant, have amazing food and bad service, they might give you another chance. More than likely not. If they walk up to your restaurant and it's perceived as a dump, or there's things that to them are like, ugh, they might just leave. So no matter how great your marketing is, you got to have other things covered, which was the whole concept of the cleaning party. On a daily basis, your place should be wiped down everywhere. And it should be very specific. But outside of that, you as an owner, your managers, your general manager, how many employees have walked by that flower pot with an ashtray sitting in it and accepted that? I don't get it. Just, it blows me away. And it's 2023. I'm going to guess that flower pot has made an appearance numerous places in people's text messages and social media. Like, what's growing here? That's all I got. Marketing can do a lot of cool things. But at the end of the day, what people arrive to is what will make the lasting impression. So as you know, I don't charge for my content. We don't have sponsors. We don't have product placement in here. But what I want your help with is spreading the word. If you're finding value here, do me a favor. Share this on your social media. Share an episode with something that made sense to you, that's relevant to your restaurant, that you got value from, and tag Matt Plapp and America's Best Restaurants. Also, go to America's Best Restaurants on Facebook and on Google and leave us a review. Let us know the impact we've had on your restaurant with our roadshow, with our marketing help, or with our podcast. And last but not least, if you want to take the next step and help me out a lot and help us out a lot, text me a testimonial, 859-743-2408. That's my cell. A selfie video would be awesome about the impact this content or our company is having on your independent restaurant. But worst case scenario, just a few kind words. The way we can help lift this industry up is to help get content like this to more independent restaurant owners, and you are the key to spreading the word. I appreciate your support. Have an amazing day.